So welcome everybody. It's a really big pleasure to be here with you and really show you what I've been doing. I want to clarify, big disclaimer, I'm not a professional speaker, nor am I a professional workshop giver. I'm just like someone who enjoys doing videos for myself mainly, for the shows that we've been creating over the last 2 years. And like that exposed us to a lot of video production by default. So everything that you're going to see here, and the first part is just showing you what we've been doing over the last 2 years. And the second part is going to be really showing you what we're about to do in the actual hands-on workshop where we are going to record a video together. Okay? First slide is always showing you that, like, number one, you can ask me questions at any time. If you want to interrupt me, you can just ask straight out, no need to raise your hands or anything like that. And number two, if you have questions afterwards, you can always find me on various social media channels. I find Instagram to be very helpful because we don't have to necessarily follow each other. Just hit send message on my profile, and then you can send me a message, which I'm happy to reply to. Okay? So if you have any questions, you can also take a business card after where you have my mobile number with WhatsApp. So you can always ask me any types of questions. Okay? So my name is Cédric Bollag. I grew up here in Zurich. I then moved to Israel. I lived there for 7 years. I did my bachelor's degree there. I did first experience in working, but then I also was exposed to the local startup scene in Tel Aviv. I'm not sure if you heard of Tel Aviv as one of the big startup hubs around the world. That's where I had this desire to also start something on my own. Before I tell you exactly what I'm doing, I'm just finishing up my master's degree at the University of St. Gallen here in Switzerland. I'm very passionate about startups, tech and innovation, so that's what I really enjoy. I enjoy to always have the latest gadget. So Huawei Mate 20, it's not even on the market yet, and I have it. So that's kind of like the things that I really enjoy. As you can see, I really get excited about these things. And again, this whole project that I've been doing over the last close to 3 years, and videos the last 2 years, is really coming from this point of I really enjoy doing this. I'm really passionate about talking to entrepreneurs, talking to them about their ideas, and see how we can bring them to the next step. Now, globaltechbox.com, this is how it originally started. In October 2015, so exactly 3 years ago, I published my first text-based blog post. It was about startups. It was about choosing a disruptive industry and finding 3 startups to present to. It was super boring. No one read it. And I had to learn that the hard way. I did it for close to a year. Every Monday morning we call it #StartupMonday. And every Monday I would present something new, and it was good, but again, it was not something that caught on. Till I made a first pilot with video. It was basically me going to some startups in Israel, and we would sit down. I would put up my DSLR camera on a tripod, nothing else. And what happened was I would post it to social media. And people would say, it looks very nice what you do, but I don't understand what you're saying. I don't hear what you're saying. The picture is blurry and everything is basically bad, but people were starting to react to what I was doing. So I figured that, okay, video is the right tool, but now I have to figure out how to produce videos. Now, coming from a finance background, I had no idea how to be maybe creative, I know how to be, but how to use, let's say, video and pictures and audio to really get the message across of what I enjoy doing. And that was the process that it took about a year to really figure out how to produce very, very high quality videos at low cost. Because back then I was a student, I had no money, so it was not an option to really buy fancy gear. Now, luckily today we're at a little bit of a different position, but again, in general, all of the startup show that you see, I would say the majority of them are recorded on smartphones. So there's no excuse for anybody to say we can't afford videos anymore. Now again, in the beginning, it was me going to these Israeli companies, startups, and I would start the video something along the line. Welcome, today we are visiting another startup, and I didn't really know what to say and everything like that. And I would say at around episode 50, we started to define a name, so we called it the Startup Show. And from then on, we really started also to focus on understanding who is our target audience. And really from there, this Startup Show started to be, and I think that's what you saw, is all of these different entrepreneurs that we feature. I'm not sure who you're familiar with. He's very popular right now, Pascal Kaufmann from StarMind. They just raised 30 million Swiss francs or dollar, I don't know. Then Sensorix, Carbon Delta, that's an Israeli startup in the artificial intelligence space with background research. And Beekeeper, anybody heard of Chris? beekeeper, also a very well-known, established entrepreneur here in Switzerland.
All men.
That's true. That's true. I'll tell you, I got this. I can tell you, it's a topic that is close to my heart. I tell you, my real problem is that I have to choose from a pot. I have a pot of people that I can choose from. I don't give any preference to men or women. Because I don't ask them about religion, I don't ask them about sexuality, I ask them about their venture. And unfortunately, I have a certain limited pot. So again, I'm open to any gender, anything. There's nothing here that like I'm preferring. And sometimes, this is usually when I give a speech, I give a sneak peek to next week. So like this upcoming Monday, who is going to be on the show. Not sure if you know Advanon. Have you heard about Advanon? Phil, his name is Phil. They do factoring. So if you, for example, you have a company and you need cash flow, you can sell your invoices to investors. They were in the headlines recently for some fraud that some of their clients did, but in general, a very, very interesting and promising startup. And sometimes, yeah, here last time I had a woman here. So, but again, yes, you're right. We have a lot of interest, but we also have a lot of things in place where we try to help entrepreneurs for free. So we don't take any finder's fee for investments and stuff like that. We just really try to help entrepreneurs as much as possible. The startup show by itself, at some point we had to define the target audience because again, that's something I had to learn the hard way. If you just produce videos and you don't know for who, then the problem is that you're just producing videos, which is nice and it looks fancy and everything is good, but like you don't really have like a set goal. And for me, what I defined is like I want to serve startup investors. So someone who says like I'm investing in startups every year, for example, let's say once a month, and we want to provide them kind of like high quality deal flow where when they watch my videos, it's let's say equivalent to meeting them in person. So they get really a good sense of who they are. One of the things that we did in season 2 compared to season 1 of the Startup Show is that the first 3 minutes, I tell the entrepreneurs before the recording, forget about your startup. Because the investors in early stage investments, the only thing they want to hear is about you. So some people are telling me, oh, yeah, I have a wife or a husband or whatever, dogs, children, whatever their hobbies are. And sometimes even they talk about how they, you know, for example, moved from corporate to entrepreneurship or how they did the bootstrapping, how they got their first investors, why are they doing. So all of these little tiny things that is about the why and about the person. That really helped a lot because for me, my only goal is that the investor who watches this and gets, let's say, a notification every Monday morning is that like, if I watch the first 3 minutes and I like it, I have another 20 minutes to watch and then I really know the company. If you don't like it after 3 minutes, be my guest, stop. But like, if you watch the video, you really learn something. And that really led to a lot of interesting conversations with investors. I'm not sure if you saw Leggy. They just raised last week 1 million euros from very, very prestigious investors here in Zurich, or in Switzerland, I would say. They were by me on the show about 3 weeks before. So that was really exciting. Okay. So one of the things I had to learn also the hard way was when you're sitting there and like, as you see, like this was the thumbnail for season 1 and this is for season 2. And the major difference, what you see is like, I took myself out of the picture because I really want to give the entrepreneurs the spotlight. And that was one of the learnings that I had. When you're a moderator in a conversation, you're not allowed to give your opinion because that's just a no-go because I didn't go to moderation school. I had to learn that. But like when you're moderating a conversation, it's absolutely forbidden to give your ideas. So you ask a question, you can ask critical questions, you can state an opinion and say what you think about that, but you're not allowed to respond. And that led to the next thing of series of videos that we started to create. Because my problem was like, for me, I would like to give my opinions sometimes, and the Startup Show was not the right vehicle. So then we started the vlog. The vlog is really focused more on my opinions, on the things that like I get exposed to, whether that's, as for example, here, we were invited by Volvo to make a video about the future of driving. I was invited for a workshop, social media in the Ukraine, and I was in Vienna to meet Wozniak, Stevie Wozniak. So him and Steve Jobs, they founded Apple together, and I had the chance to meet him for 1 minute. And for example, here, that was together with RFS. RFS is a conference organizer connected with the University of St. Gallen, redesigned financial services. And there we did some videos where we talk about the future of venture capital, the future of banking, and all kinds of these types of things. What's very important to know for you also, this startup show is fully financed by me. So there's no sponsor here, there's no investor behind this, there's no hidden messages. It's just me deciding on interesting startups, me trying to find interesting startups with high potential entrepreneurs. So none of these people ever paid for anything. That is very important to know. So this is my journalistic freedom that, like, for me, it's very important. When you watch the Startup Show, and I'm talking just at the Startup Show, you know, this is something that, like, I believe in. I believe in these startups. I think they're good at the moment. Shows them. Obviously, some of them closed already. Some of them having trouble. That's normal in startup life. But in general, what you see, the entrepreneurs that have been featured on my show, those are all people that I think they have an interesting case. Now, just to answer your question of how to get in.
Beyond your interest to this project, is it any tangible criteria to be chosen for these people? Which one?
Yes. We want to reach startups that are raising funds in the seed stage, Series A or B. So early stage of a company. Usually the process we have is that we have a form, you have to fill out the form, you have to send me your investor pitch deck, and then usually we have a phone call, or if possible we even have a meeting, and then we'll decide. And we usually have 1 week of recording every 3 to 4 months. So like we have 1 week now, again, I think in February, probably March or April, something like this, where we have 1 week that I reserve for myself, and then I go from one startup to the next, and we make these interviews. And then now, for example, we have recorded till about March. The vlogs, so sometimes, again, here we do sometimes make money. So when we work together with Volvo, or we work together with companies, then sometimes, we do get paid for these videos. Now here, I want to show you, this was, as I said, I was able to interview Stevie Wozniak. And I'm saying interview because usually when I conduct an interview, then it's usually 30 to 40 minutes, and then we cut it a little. Here I had exactly in 1 minute and 10 seconds. So I want you to see, it was really, I can tell you more than saying, like, I was lucky to be in the right place in the right moment, because otherwise, like, that have been nothing. But here is the unedited version of Vienna. Can I ask you one question for the camera? Okay. A lot of students watch my videos. What would you tell them to inspire them for entrepreneurship?
I don't know. Always think of ways so you can complete your projects a second time a little better. And a little better means fewer steps, more direct, faster, something that makes you better than others.
Okay, good.
Yes, the top ones really are the ones that change the world.
I really like that you said about passion and doing things that you're good at.
Well, you should follow your heart, but some of the best things I ever did, I give these examples, was because I didn't have money, I had to make them inexpensive. And because I didn't have experience in those areas, I'd never built those devices before, I didn't know what the book said, how you do it. I had to sit down with the little building pieces, the building blocks, and figure out the best structure, and I always came up with better ones than were in the books at the time. So that was lucky that I had not done them before. See, if you think, oh my gosh, when you hire somebody to do a certain kind of project, I want somebody who's done this before. Sometimes that could be a mistake because you're going to miss out on the real geniuses.
Good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So that was my interview with him. That was a very cool experience. Again, like, I don't want you to think like I only do it for that kind of thing, but it is kind of like a nice way to, to tell a story about how you met Stevie Wozniak. But overall, I enjoy like the entrepreneurs in early stages much more. But it's a nice story. By now, usually I get the question, how do you make money? So I have one slide. I have one slide where I explain that we usually work together with brands where we create very focused videos on content. So for example, we produce only interviews, so we don't produce any kinds of videos. A lot of times I get requests for mood videos, mood conference videos and stuff like that. So we don't do that. We really focus on interviews where we try to give insights to a certain topic. And we focus on, as I said before, topics such around startups, tech and innovation. So for example, Swisscom, Blockchain AG was featured here in a collaboration together with Jeep. So Jeep gave us a nice car, the Grand Cherokee. I'm not sure if you're familiar with cars. It's a very, very big Jeep. They gave me the car for 2 weeks and we installed GoPros. You don't see it here, but if you go look at the videos, you'll see the GoPros. We installed GoPros and then we drove around Zurich and I invited 3 people and it was a lot of fun. We called it Innovation Adventure. So innovation came from me. Adventure came from the Jeep branding. We drove around and it was a lot of fun. We work sometimes with conferences because usually at conferences, a lot of people come together so we can record a lot of interesting interviews in an efficient time. Huawei, as I told you, like the reason why I have the phone is because we are partner with Huawei Technologies, who are headquartered in Shenzhen. We are actually not in the consumer business, like the phones are kind of like the treats we get anyways, but like I'm usually producing videos for the B2B part of Huawei. Now in terms of social media, we are more or less on every social media channel there is. The reason being, again, like it's a very strategic decision that you have to make when you're building your social media presence. You can do, number one, a single channel strategy where you say like, okay, like I want all of my exposure to be on YouTube. So you say, hey guys on Facebook, come check me out on YouTube. On Twitter, you say the same. Hey, everybody on Twitter, come on to YouTube. And I decided something different. I decided really to try build an audience on each of these platforms. Everybody has their preference. You maybe like website, you maybe like Twitter, you like LinkedIn. So we really try to do the storytelling as much as possible on every channel. The goal for today's workshop is really first, I want to show you a little bit like why video is so important versus other things. Then we go to understand how to produce the video. Then next up is the distribution of the video. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, like, you know, using our Facebook and stuff like this. I'll show you a little bit more what we do. And then the recording of the video, which then leads us to our ultimate challenge of recording our own video. So this is going to be very exciting and challenging. And I think I remember very well when I was in front of a camera for the first time. So it's going to be exciting. Now, next question is, what types of content are they? The first one I want to discuss is text. So when is text good to be used for?
To explain something.
To give some facts. To give some facts, yes. Descriptions, yes. Do you have like situations where text is really bad to use?
Yeah, or some complicated words, I don't know.
When you need
artificial intelligence, maybe you could actually kind of write it rather than, I don't know.
Yeah, there's no right and wrong. I'm just like trying to get the sense of like when to use what.
When you wanted to arise emotions, better to use something visual.
Visual, but then we are not in text anymore.
Yeah.
Then we are in.
Yeah, better not to use.
Then we're in picture. Yes. Yeah.
For example, to use like the voice is used. Let's say you speak in Swiss German and German.
Yeah.
And then you want to make someone international or global.
So subtitles. Yeah. Subtitles. Subtitles, correct. Which brings me, you said voice, which is the next one, audio, and the last one, video. Exactly. So I want to show you like why I think video is so useful. When I produce a video, basically what we do is we have about a 1 hour session with the entrepreneurs. And from that 1 hour session, we have about 200 different types of content, pieces of content that we distribute across of our social media channels. So I'll give you an example. When we record the videos that we record is usually, I would say, 30 to 40 minutes. We cut it a little bit. And then based on the videos, we have quotes. So we take out the quotes, we put them on Instagram. We take every question that I ask, the answer will be a new video. So we have from one video, we have about 10 to 15 more videos, okay? Then based on the video, we extract the audio, put it onto iTunes. So we have podcast. Do you see where I'm going? So from this, from what we produce right now, you can derive all of it. For example, one of my favorite questions that I like to ask is, how did you get your first paying client? Which is a very interesting question because no one really talks about it. Everybody talks, oh, I have hundreds of clients and everything is beautiful, but how did you get your first one? And then they tell me, oh, you know, my father's best friend, he has a friend who has an uncle, and they have. So like you can take this as a quote and make a whole blog post about that. Do you see what I mean? And that can be very useful, for example, when you are building your SEO strategy around certain topics. So you have a 30-minute video, you take quotes, and to each quote, you write a little blog post, which is the video embedded at the bottom. So you see where I'm trying to go? That's why I think video is so powerful, because you really have everything that you can deduct from here. You can, for example, also take snippets out of the audio, make another whole like 20 different blog posts. You can take pictures. You can take separate pictures from behind the scenes. You can take pictures from the entrepreneurs as like, for example, in my case, from entrepreneurs as a portrait. You can write a whole bio about them. So the next thing is I want to go a little bit of a deep dive into really video and discuss with you the different advantages of video. Because again, like I see so much value producing as a base, always the video versus, let's say, a single blog post. Like, for example, what I did in the beginning, and again, it's not bad. I'm just saying, like, my learning showed me that it's better or easier to first produce the video, is when you produce a single blog post and you have, let's say, one blog post finished. You can do a series of blog posts, but still it's very hard to come up with these topics all the time. Now, when you watch your own videos, you can just say, oh, like the guy said something very interesting, or you said something, if you want to be in front of the camera, you said something very interesting that you don't even remember, and you can write a blog post about that. The first point, very simple. Google, YouTube, a video is always better rated when you look at it from an SEO perspective. Again, like in text, it's very hard to explain, but if you look at entrepreneurs that were on my show that focus on their branding online versus people who don't, you see a very big difference. So people who do focus, if you type in their name, my video comes up, I would say, still on the first page, but I would say not at the very top. All the entrepreneurs that are usually not focused at all and they're just focused on their business, which is not a bad thing, but people who want to really focus on branding, you will see that my video is usually top rated, which is very interesting, especially for early stage startups who don't have so much media exposure yet. This is obviously very, very valuable. We also see that videos on YouTube, the views go up with time, and especially when they raise a certain amount of funding, the videos spike also a little bit. That's also very interesting to see. Today you have deepfakes also on video, but I would say we are not there yet that we can really say like every video is a fake or we can tell it. But in general, I would say when you look at the text, you can always hire a ghostwriter. You can always have someone write the text for you. Video, you're exposed. You will be the one, whether you are nervous or you are enjoying it or you are talking more than you are like saying something. That is everything visible on a video, and it's very hard to hide. We want that because we want to make sure that the investors can really see who the person is. And for that reason, for example, when we record, we have it in one shot. It's not like, oh, can I say an answer again? No. We do it all in one take. And what you can do as an entrepreneur is then say like, hey, look, this one line I would like to take out because I said something that was like still confidential. That's not a problem at all. But at least the 98% that stays in the video is 100% authentic. And that is what is really important to us. So this definitely, if an investor finds a video from us where they can see like how you talk or how an entrepreneur talks, that definitely adds to the credibility and shows that you are really know what you're talking about. Watching a video, again, like definitely gives somewhat a feeling of like, yes, I know you. Yes, I have watched you. I'm not sure who you're following on social media. I have my few people that I follow. I'm not sure Gary Vaynerchuk, if you know him, anybody? No? There's a few people. Or Casey Neistat, a big YouTuber. When you watch these people, they talk to you into the camera and you really feel like they're your best friends, but they have no idea who you are. And that definitely, gives that feeling also towards investors. And you have to understand, if investors follow you over a period of time and they keep watching your videos, even if it's not the whole video, even if it's just part of it, they feel like they know you. Okay, and this is something that you can control very, very well. To fake passion is very hard. Very, very, very hard. And I think in a video, to show your passion and to show what you really want to achieve, whether that's on my show or the videos that you're going to produce for yourself, is I think the best way to show that you really believe in what you're doing. Now again, investors also know that we're all struggling day in, day out, and they all know that it's not easy to build a company, but to have the passion and to explain why you're getting up each morning to do this headache, is a very good way to show that. And again, showing that like you are struggling with something and communicating this is not a bad thing at all. And I think that is definitely appreciated by some of the investors. Scalability. I think once you take out money or you produce a video, it doesn't matter whether one person watches it or 1 million people watch it. So I think that is definitely something to take into consideration. Think about it in that way. Let's say you have a startup where you do your frequently asked questions in video format. So you probably have like 10, 15 questions that you get asked all the time. For example, I ask all the time, how do you make money? So I could make a video about that. And then like whenever someone asks you, within 10 seconds, you send them the link. And that is really cool. Like you don't have to explain it to them. They see you're prepared. Ideally, you have, some kind of traction on the video, but I would say that doesn't really matter too much. But in general, like I would say, to have a video ready at your fingertips for the most asked questions, I think that is really valuable, especially coming from the founder. That shows you really put in some thoughts. Charisma, again, not everybody has it, I understand. But again, like a way to communicate is definitely over video. It's totally lacking in pitch decks. In pitch decks, you usually see some fancy name, worked 10 years at Goldman Sachs, 5 years at Google, and all of these like fancy things. But charisma is, let's say, easier to show on a picture, but in a video it's really, really simple to see. And I think specifically if you have it, and again, I don't know you well enough to tell who has it and who doesn't, but I'm saying if you have it and you're blessed with it, then you can definitely use that to your advantage. Now, next up is how to actually produce a video. Again, like I did not come from a background of any video production skills, so there's nothing you can say like, oh, like I learned it in school. Everything was self-taught. I learned finance and I'm still studying finance, so nothing to do with video recording in general, but I want to show you what we do. So first of all, equipment. There's a few things we learned. The audience is much more sensitive to bad audio and to bad picture. Much, much more sensitive. The reason being, my interpretation, and this didn't make a study about that, is probably many people listen to it while they work. So like if you have bad audio quality, you have to watch it, which is not something that people do. So if you want to invest in equipment, first go for the audio. For the video itself, again, I see the phones lying around here. More than enough for what you need. Trust me, more than enough for what you need. I suggest to have a tripod. I suggest to have lights if you want to buy them. I bought fancy ones, what you see here in the back. They're a little bit expensive, but in general, if you go into AliExpress, you can buy it for 30 to 50 euros, depends, plus a little bit of shipping. Make sure it's less than $50 because otherwise you have to pay customs, taxes, but in general, you can find very, very high quality and good enough for what you need. So equipment by itself should not be an issue for anybody in here. If you have an issue with equipment and you need something, you can always text me. I'll show you what I bought on AliExpress. So I'm always happy to help. But again, like you don't need to buy fancy equipment. There's also some tricks. I'll show you that. That was in the next one. What you can do, for example, when it's bright outside, you can sit with the camera facing this direction. You sit here and you use the light from the sun. That is something you can also do. But again, for longer videos, the sun moves, so you have a little bit of an issue. I mean, you understand what I'm talking about. But the equipment by itself, I don't want you to think that like because of the equipment, I can't produce videos. Okay? So if ever it comes into your mind, oh no, I don't have the right equipment, call me. If money is the issue for these 100 francs, I will find a way to help you with that. Okay? So this is my word to you. Now again, we are going away a little bit from the equipment. If you want to take it a little bit to the next level, you want to get in a location where it's quiet. Again, like we have produced videos at conferences, it's possible, but again, ideally you are in a quiet place. You want to have a clean background where it makes sense. For example, like glass can reflect the light that you have. So all of those like little things that can make a little bit of a difference in the video. Next up is, I did that also wrong in the beginning. You don't have to know exactly what you're going to say in the video because there's a lot that can be done with the editing, but it's good to know. So like, for example, when you're recording something by yourself, you put up a camera in front of you, you say like, okay, now I'm going to answer a question about like how we make money or what our business model is. And then you say it and you say it again and you say it over and over until you feel like you have it all together. And then the last part, which I'm not going too much into it because it's a whole separate topic, is the editing. Guys, I'm telling you, it's magic. If you have a good editor, it's like magic and they can put you in a light that you have not believed how good you can look in editing. Now, it's a whole different game. I outsourced it really early on because, again, it was too much for me to really focus it and I didn't have the experience and the expertise. But if you have a Mac, iMovie, usually for most of my needs is enough. And iMovie is very simple to learn. You can do it there. Again, if you need help with finding someone to edit it, also happy to show you how to find freelancers around the world who can edit on a professional, low budget level. So again, if this is something that you want to help with, again, this is not something I charge for or anything like that. I'm always happy to help. Next up, blank slide. No, just kidding. As you know, content is king. Anybody heard about that before? But I would say there's two types of things. There's the ads. You want to make an ad about Coca-Cola and you want to sell as much as possible. So you have a 20-second video spot where you try to get over a certain message, or you have content. So content where you say like, okay, like you want to talk about a certain topics. In my case, we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about startups, we talk about venture capital, we talk about all kinds of things that is related to it, which is my content, which is very important when you want to build a long-lasting brand over time. So nothing goes overnight. It took me about 24 months till someone noticed me with my videos, about, I would say, 80 videos till, first things came out. So like, it doesn't happen with one video. Last week I got, if it was off the record, I would tell you, but from a very big brand, they called me, it's like, hey, Cédric, we would like to make a viral video. Have you gotten these phone calls? We would like to make a video. So I'm like, yeah, take some cats, take some babies, put them in a video, and you should be fine, But that's not what I do. We want to build brands where people associate us with, we learned something in this video. Even if it's long, and I know my videos are long, and I get this all the time, but like if you make a 60-second video, with a few exceptions, there are a few video creators that are able to do that in 60 seconds, really bring across a message, but we are not there, okay? Now the second part, I'm not sure who heard that, distribution. So it's very nice if you have a video, and I would say it's bad to focus on distribution only, and it's bad if you start thinking of all the metrics and all the views that you can have and all of the different impressions, and can get really lost with this, trust me. But nevertheless, it's important to understand how you want people to find your videos, okay? So I'm gonna, again, explain to you how we do it. I'm not saying this is best practice or anything, and I'm sure there are 17,000 other ways to do it. I'm just going to show you what we do, okay? A very open, no secrets. So first of all, there are different types of newsletters you can do. We originally started with an email newsletter, which had a very, very low open rate, which was about, I would say, at around 20%, which is higher than industry standard. But again, it was too low for me. So we stopped it and we moved to WhatsApp. So we have a WhatsApp group fully dedicated to distributing my video content. And there we have an open rate of higher than 90%. So I'm not sure how familiar with WhatsApp, but about, I would say 4 months ago, they introduced a new feature where you can have a WhatsApp group where only the admins are allowed to text. So everybody else is muted, so you can't text. So I just have like my really close network, including the investors that I interact with on a daily basis in that group. And then I send that video and then they get it directly a ping to their mobile phone. That works really well because I don't work with numbers. For me, like I would love to have 1 million views on each of my videos, but I think having 10 high quality investors watching my videos is worth so much more than having 1 million. Now again, it would be nice to have 1 million views. It would be nice to have even 10,000 views, but again, that is my thing. Then obviously we have the website. Some people, they really just like to bookmark our website and then go and check it once in a while. We have a lot of people who come find us through Google, so you have kind of to have like a website. And we have content partners, so people who really say like, okay, like we subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then whenever we publish a new video, they would see if it fits into their strategy. They would take it, embed it. So I don't let people download their files. I let people embed as much as they want, but they are not allowed to download the files. This had various reasons, less because of me, because the music license, also probably something you're familiar with. The music license that we have in the background of our videos is licensed just for our channel. So like it's not even allowed for them to take it, and they get in trouble with them. Next is social media. Social media is a very, very big topic. And again, I get this question, I would say twice a week at least. Oh, Facebook is done. Done. Facebook, you don't have to be on Facebook anymore. And I said, like, guys, I don't really care. We are on all social media channels. If one day, the algorithms prefer me a little bit on LinkedIn, sometimes they prefer me on YouTube, and then the next time on Instagram, and then like it goes up and down in all different channels. And today, they like Facebook better, and tomorrow it's Instagram. But in general, what I would like to say is social media gives each and everybody of us the tool and the possibility to really distribute our content and be in direct conversation with clients, partners, investors. And that is an opportunity that we did not have, I would say, 10 years ago before, let's say, Facebook and social media was around. And that doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter how popular Facebook is in Zurich, because we're thinking in a global scale, so Facebook is still very important. So I highly recommend to be on social media. Which platform is right for you and for your business, that is something that we can discuss. Not everybody has to be on all of them. I understand that, it's a lot of effort. But it's still, like I would say, in business, and I think we're all focused on business and not like Instagram beach pictures, everybody has to be on LinkedIn. If you want to have a general quote, everybody has to be on LinkedIn. Everybody else we can discuss. And then very important on social media, we can distinguish between organic and paid reach. So you can post a picture, let's say on Facebook, you have 2,000 likes or followers, a certain amount of people get to see them because of the algorithms. And then you can, boost it, for example, on Facebook, you can boost it on YouTube and LinkedIn and Instagram and everywhere. Add some budget to really show it to the people that are interesting for you. For example, you say like you want to reach people who are interested in venture capital, like me, like people who are, I would like them to watch my videos. So I pay Facebook and I pay YouTube that they are going to show it to those people. How they find out who is interested in what, that's a discussion for another time, but in general it works really well. And I can highly recommend it, especially if you are very, very clear about the persona and person that you want to reach. So I give the lipstick classical example. Lipstick is majority of people are women. Majority of people who use a lipstick are in a certain age. And then you can say like, I would like to reach women aged between 20 and 30 in Zurich. And this type of targeted advertisement is almost impossible with billboards and tram advertisements and stuff like that. So just keep in mind the lipstick and try to figure out what is your USP and who would you like to reach. Yes, so that is about the distribution. Any questions about that?
What does it mean then organic is?
Organic is if I post a video and I just wait and see what happens. So I don't do anything. I mean, you can share it with your own profiles and you can maybe ask your friends, but like, if you ask your brother every other week to share something, he gets annoyed. I tried it. It's also not the network you want to reach. Maybe that's also interesting. When I started off, you see like I call it like it goes kind of like up, all of your views, and everybody's very excited. Hey, you're doing cool videos and everything. And then by me, it was about a year after, it really declined. And the reason was because the people that I was reaching were not the people who were interested in startups. And that is a good thing because you only want to reach the people. And then you have like this base where it's really hard to get through, but then you slowly build up to people who are actually interested. And that is what's so fulfilling for me. Every day now I get messages from people from, a lot of in Switzerland, but also from around the world, from people who are actually interested in meeting with me because of my passion, which is amazing, meaning I deal with what I'm passionate about all day long. That is really, really cool. Now we go into how to actually record. How we're going to record this 90-second video. You see, we're leading up to what we are going to do. I hope you get the suspicions of how it is in front of the camera. First of all, we are going to record videos, and there are different types of videos you can do where you look directly into the camera. So we're not looking away from the camera. So like if I look at you now, I look away. Usually like in the news, when you watch the news, people look away from the camera. We are now choosing a format where you really look into the camera. So for example, if you want to reach investors, so you imagine on the other side an investor. If you want to reach a partner, you imagine on the other side a partner. So that's very important that you imagine who is talking. Even though you have a camera there, I'll be standing behind the camera, so I'll try to make it a little bit easier for you. But in general, you have to imagine who you're talking to. Yes, I know it sounds really hard. Many people start with like, but like take your time. We can edit. Remember, magic happens afterwards. And it's important that we get every situation, like the full sentence in the way we want it after in the final video. So really take your time, breathe in and start talking. Okay, I will show you after and I will make sure you make it right, just so you have it heard already. That happens also a lot. So for example, I say like, I try to ask questions that are kind of like giving you the segue to give nice sentences, but in general, don't start with because I can't edit something where you start a sentence with because. I will stop you if you do it, but in general, start the questions, for example, like, how do you see the future of driving? So don't say, it's bright, because I can't do anything with it's great. So like start saying like, the future of driving looks very interesting to me because we won't have to drive and we don't have to do this and we have electric cars and whatever. Do you see the difference? And obviously, we try and we can cut out a lot of the ams or I don't know, or we can cut that, but in general, we try to avoid it. So every question I will ask you, you will have to start with a full sentence by repeating the question. And number two, we will only go to the next questions once you have this one sentence, said it once in one take, okay? Don't worry about it. It's easier than what it sounds, okay? Also important is we can do some freestyle that can work. it can work, and sometimes we do say like, yes, just start talking. Sometimes people just have to talk. But in general, when I ask you a question, I think you all saw the questions before. It's good if you say like, okay, I ask you the question, you take 2-3 seconds, you think of what you wanted to say, and then you say it. So you take a deep breath and you start talking, okay? And as much as you can, try to ignore the camera, try to focus on me. I know the camera will be physically between you and me, but again, like the camera should not scare you in any way. It is really here to amplify your message of your pitch. That's the ultimate goal that I have today. I'm not writing any headlines for any newspapers here. I'm just here to try and help you get a 90-second video plus minus of what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve, okay? You all get like the chance to review it, make sure that you like what you see, and that like everything is exactly the way you want it, okay? And the last one, you have to smile. You know, that's the charisma we talked about before. By smiling into the camera and having fun and enjoying and showing that you're really passionate about what you're doing. I'll give you also a little tip. Most of the people, when they watch the news and talks and stuff like that, you know, they look for the hair and stuff like that. The appearance, are people like, you know, really standing there and having a presence, or they're like mumbling something. And then the content, I don't want to say content is king, but like the appearance and the way you stand there and the way you talk is as important as what you're saying. So that is something that we're going to really focus on, that you have like this presence in front of this camera, okay? I think we can go quickly through all of these questions. I added one more question. Yeah, we don't have to do it. I was just talking to an investor yesterday and today, and we were doing some videos together, and he said to me, for him, he wants to hear the big vision. Now, when you can decide of what the world should look like with your startup in 5 to 10 years, what would it be? Now, I only gave you 2 years, so that's a very short time, but in general, like, I think that is something that investors really would like to hear. So if you feel like you can answer that, even better. Question and answer, I think we did that. Any questions?
Do the people like to record a video?
Yes. Like the people I interview, like the entrepreneurs. Yeah, they love it. Yes, I would say, when you look at the media landscape in Switzerland, there are very few places where startups can be featured. So you have a page here and a page there, but in general, media attention is not on startups. We are usually one of the first ones that give them this platform of really talking about their venture and talking about their startup and their life. And that is very exciting, and also to them. The majority of the entrepreneurs that we reach out to in a cold email, the way we do that is another story, but like the way we do it is a very high percentage, I would say close to 80-90%, where people say yes. I'm not talking about reply rate, I'm talking about saying yes to the video. Usually what we do, as a very short tip, is I write into the subject line of the email, "Are you available for a video interview?" ? And in the body it just has my signature. That's it. I don't write anything about what or anything. I just like write in the subject line, and then usually I get the reply, "Yes, talk to my assistant. Yes, can you tell me more? Yes, what's this about? Yes, when are you coming?" So that is a very efficient way. And again, if someone asks me what's it about, I can talk to you, like an hour, like it's no problem. Like I can talk as long as you want. So yeah, I would say we go to record a video. Did everybody fill out the form? Again, yeah, I tell you why I need this. The reason is because when I give it to my editor, he will insert your names and your ventures and everything, so it looks nice and fancy. And to do that, I want to make sure like I have the right names. I would say you get out now. Thank you so much for listening.